So today's topic is activated route service. In this topic, I'll first start with a simplified example, and then I will complicate it a little more and more. Okay, let me dive into the stack blitz. Date is 21st September 18:08 a.m. Okay, so here we go. So the first, of course, activated routes we perform in the routing module. First of all, what are these services, and why we need these services?
Okay.
In the URL, when we click on a link in the URL, there will be a change in the path. Not only the path, there is a possibility of change in the parameters also. For example, what do you mean by parameters? If this is the path, suppose if this is the URL, and I can call this as students is as a path, and in this, after this path, I can have some parameters. This is how we can actually treat the URL. Okay, so how do I get the parameters in certain component? When we load a component for this particular route, when we have a students, and then we have some uh, parameters, when this type of path is there in the URL, I can load a component. While I am loading the component, in that component I especially need to read these parameters. How can I read these parameters? And by using activated route service. This activated route service is from router module. So first I have to include the router module from @Angular/router,
Router.
and then I have to put the router module here. So this router module constructor can have the different routes as array of objects. So I have to define the router module value of type of router module is not callable. In fact, router module is not directly callable. Router module is having, I'm sorry, not router module constructor. Router module is having a method called for root. In this for root, we are going to pass all our different routes as array of objects. So here I'll consider some route path. When the path is nothing or empty path, I would like to load the component as app component. Okay, that's okay. So by default this app component will be loaded, but where? So if you have any doubts in the routing, please follow my previous classes on routing so that you will understand in a better way. Just give me a minute.
Yes, sir.
So I can set the different paths over here. So first of all, let me create the different components. For example, home component and services component. Okay. Services in the sense, what are there in my services? Leave it. I will create a different component. The component name is products component. So here I have different components with me, and I can configure those components in my app module. So when the path is sorry, I had to write before this, shouldn't write it after this. So when the path is home, I had to load the component as home component, and the same way when the path is about us, then I had to load the component as about us. Don't I have that about? No, I'm sorry, it's not about us. It is
Product.
products component, and I have one more component like services. When the path is services and component is services component. So manually, if I have entered the home, of course I can't load anything. The home component is not getting loaded because I didn't say where does it load, where it should load. I had to mention where it should load. So I will be creating a router
Router.
outlet here, so that will be loaded in the router outlet. So you can see the output over here. Yeah, router, in the router outlet I'm able to see the output. And then if I create if I have a path called products, I will be getting products as an output. And if I get the services, I will be having services component in my router outlet. Router outlet. And then this is fine, but let me create some products over here. I mean to say, yeah, I'll show you that. In the products component, I'll create some links. A href is equal to 1. I'm creating some other routes in the product component. Already product component loaded because of one routing. And inside that product component, if I have some other routes, okay, then how do they behave if I write like this? Let us see that. So you just concentrate on this particular place in the status bar. If I move my mouse on 4, you can have that /4 directly. That means it is trying to get loaded as 4, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is behaving like a path. So it is directly loading as a path /4.
Yes.
When I click on any one of these routes, it is directly having as a path. Okay, the reason for that is simple. Actually, I had to create any routes in this process. We'll see in a proper way in the app component.html. I'll create these as paths: home. They are the first set of routes: home, products, and services. And it is going, when I click on the products link, it should load products route. When I click on the services link, it should load services route in the router outlet. So now let me see the output. Okay, why two times? Something is wrong in the app component. Oh no, href. No, okay, yeah, I'm using it as a href, so it is behaving like this.
Yes. Yes.
Instead of router link, I have to provide the router link. Copy router link and router link. If I click on home, products, and services, so even when I click on products, it is loading the 1, 2, 3, 4, but they are loading in the same line. I will adjust that. Products, I will put it in as a router link.
Daniel.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, router link. So now they have become the router link, but we don't have the routes for that. Okay, how to create routes for it? When I have in the products, and then if we have any child, because this 1, 2, 3, 4 are the children for products. You have to understand this. 1, 2, 3, 4 are the children for products. Okay, so when I click on 1, I wanted to load the data over here itself, and when I click on 2, I want to load the data here itself. So how to handle such routes? First of all, I need to provide the router outlet over here, because I want to load in the same page, right? First thing, I want to load in the same page. So when I click on this, particular router outlet, sorry, when I click on this particular products, I'm getting these 3 links: 1, 2, 3, 4. When I click on 3, I'm expecting the same some other component should be loaded over here itself. So we need another router outlet to get this particular job done, but I need to create the routes also subsequently. So those routes will be the children for products. So in the products, when the path is colon id, so there can be anything. The component, in a common way I am defining the path. The component should be some new component. Let me create a component called products product details component. So how can I load the product detail? This is what I want to load. I had to mention that in the product details. This is the first job. When I click on one, you can see this automatically the parameters get added into the path, and the subsequent product detail works component is getting loaded. So this type of parameters, this type of values are called as parameters. So how can I access those parameters? By using activated route service. So when I am clicking on the sub paths, when I click on the products and then when I click on, it is trying to load product details component, right? So in the product details component, I am supposed to discuss product details component. In this component, I had to access the path, access the complete path. So for that, I am going to use import activated route from @Angular/router. So this is the service which is coming from activated router module. So here I had to inject it, and I have created a simple reference variable. Okay. So through AR I can actually access the path. Okay, let us see how can I access it directly in the constructor. This dot AR dot params dot, so because params will be responded as a observable, all those params will be given us as an observable, so we have to subscribe to that. So subscribe of, so in this subscription method we are going to receive the values. Now let us see the output. When I click on 1, yeah, when I click on 3 I get it, id is 3. When I click on 4 I got id is 4. So I am able to access the params, activated route params. Okay, so with these params I can easily access the specific product details from the database and vice versa. Could you understand this?